Hello, J. Robert Oppenheimer here, the American Prometheus who led the team that built the atomic bomb. The whole world became aware of the power behind Einstein's famous formula, E equals mc squared, when we dropped the atomic bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But what does that formula mean to you? Well, to me, it means that in this paperclip, there's enough energy, enough power to create those atomic bombs. That's what's going on in the real world, the power in the atomic world, the power of a nucleus of an atom, a nuclear bomb. That's the kind of energy there is. Today, though, I'd like to hand it off to my partner in crime, Robert J. Schuman, the fiduciary investment advisor, who will share with you what he believes should be the most second famous formula, P equals AI squared. If you hold on a second, I'll turn things over to him and he'll share his screen. Hello, Robert J. Schuman here, the fiduciary investment advisor and certified financial planner. From atom bomb to perfect portfolio, the power of price. The formula that my brother was talking about, P equals AI squared, means that price equals available information times aggregated intelligence. What is the power of price? Well, it's the power of the free markets. It's the invisible hand, which Adam Smith, the great guy who started economics and who published his Wealth of Nations in 1776, the same year that the United States was born. It's the power of the free markets, the idea of laissez-faire, that government should stay out of the economy, and that will allow people to create wealth. Available information means that price has all the information that's available about any product or service, scarce resources. Aggregated intelligence means that all of us together have all that information, and as we process it, we come up with the best decision on what should be done with those scarce resources. Now, Adam Smith was the guy who coined the phrase, the invisible hand, but he didn't know that price was the power of that invisible hand. That came after World War II from an Austrian economist named Friedrich Hayek. Now, after the war was over, a great debate broke out between the Europeans and between Lord Keynes, the English economist, and Friedrich Hayek, the Austrian economist. Hayek had fled Austria and had experienced the power of socialism in his own country when the Nazi Party dictated the economy. And he also said it took place in the Soviet Union with communism. Now, everybody pretty much today, after the fall of Nazi Germany and the fall of the Soviet Union, and now free markets even sort of being adopted by the Russians to a limited degree, and the China agrees that free markets are powerful. But the debate about socialism, limited socialism, and free markets continues today. Pretty much everyone agrees that free markets are the best way to determine the prices of commodities and goods and services outside of war, the kind of competition that's going on today, which is a real, conflict for power. But what about the stock market? The most complex of all things to figure the price of. I mean, actually, you think of it, there's billions of decisions going on. Well, actually, 7 billion people making decisions about how they're going to spend their money, what resources they want, and, governments, all kinds of parties. Well, who has all that information? Eugene Fama said that he took Hayek's theory of prices and tested it using quantum science computers and came up with the informationally efficient market hypothesis that free markets are so powerful that they can even efficiently say what the best value is for publicly traded companies. I'm not going to go into great detail about the theory and all that the wrestling that has taken place between economists, but I'm going to just give you one example of the informationally efficient market hypothesis. And it starts with a story you all know, the Challenger disaster. I think it was in April of 1986. The whole world watched as the USS Challenger blew up. It was the most watched event on television because a teacher by the name of Kristen McAuliffe was going to teach a class from space. So every classroom in the United States was watching it. When it blew up, President Reagan appointed a special commission, which included all kinds of academics, a nuclear physicist, one of the most famous in the world, politicians, State Department, government officials. They investigated, and after 5 months, they said the cause of the blowup was a combination of a O-ring in the shuttle's booster rockets that was subject to cracking under extreme temperatures. And it just so happened on that morning, on that night, for one of the few times in history, the temperatures at Cape Kennedy went below freezing. And so 70 seconds into the flight, that's what you see on the right pictures there, the small leak developed and the spaceship exploded. The shuttle exploded. And that's the story you all know. Oh, one more thing. The total cost after a year, after all the lawsuits were settled in court, the total cost to the economy was about $200 million, they figured. Now that's the story you know. Here's the story you don't know. On the left is a time picture of what went on with the shuttle as the countdown started and as it lifted off. On the right is a picture of the stock prices of the 4 subcontractors that created the booster rocket: Morton Thiokol, Lockheed, Martin Marietta, and Rockwell. You can see the countdown started at 11:36, and at 11:39, the Challenger disintegrated. 13 minutes after that, 13 minutes, the trading in Morton Thiokol stopped. In other words, what Reagan's commission took 5 months to figure out, the stock market figured out in 13 minutes. Now that's informationally efficient market. It's who has all the information? It's all of us have all the available information about what's going on, and that's reflected in the price of the stock. The stock market, the Morton Thiokol came back on the market, and at 12:36, the price, it came back on at about $35 a share, and about 24 minutes later, it settled on about $34.38, almost about an 8% loss. And if you figure that out, that's about a $200 million capital cost. So the market figured out what it took the rest of us over a year to learn. That's the power of price, the power of free markets. None of us is as smart as all of us. None of us has all the information, but all of us do have all the available information. And as we process it, some of us who think the price of Morton Thiokol should be even lower will keep selling until an equilibrium is reached between those who believe that it's fallen far enough and they start buying. Some people also call it the equilibrium market hypothesis. The power of prices. The famous formula, P equals AI squared. Available information processed by aggregate intelligence squared. So this is the beginning of the first phase of phase 3, the power of prices and the contributions of Gene Fama. Next week, we'll take a look at the problem of patternicity. I want to thank you for watching this. If you're viewing the tape, the recording, if you have any questions, I encourage you to submit them to myself, my email address, or post them on our blog. And be sure you tell others if you think this is educational and helps them become a better investor. I hope it helps you become a better decision maker about investments. In other words, trust the power of prices. Don't try to beat the market. The market is the best indicator of what's going to happen in the future. Thank you.